Ladies and gentlemen, dear colleagues and friends, greetings to all of you. Doesn't matter from where you are connecting right now. Thank you for joining us on today's webinar that is dedicated to the important layer of data protection against internal threats. We cover this layer together with our long-term partner with Technology Alliance, with Safetica, and its data loss prevention, or as you wish, data leak prevention solution is a great pick to our product portfolio. Let me please welcome and introduce for many of you well-known person, Mr. Petr Zhikesh, who is with Safetica for the last 10 years and is in charge of strategy and strategy partnership as a chief strategy officer. And as well, together with Mr. Jan Mazal, who is taking the advantage of his rich career experiences with product marketing and stands with Safetica within the last year as a senior product marketing manager. And as well, at least not last and not least, Samek Jarul, who is the chief marketing officer, joined Safetica company just a few weeks ago here to put his strength and hand to all marketing activities of Safetica. Jan will accompany us through this presentation for the next 30 minutes, while you will be able to write your questions here in the Teams chat, and we will do our best to provide answers within this webinar, or otherwise after the webinar, and you will get all questions and answers. You will get slides and also the recording of this webinar. So I believe it will be soon and shortly after the webinar is finished. So Jan, enjoy the audience. The place is yours. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you for the introduction. Hello, everyone. So let me share the screen first and to have it confirmed that you can see. Okay, so hopefully yes. So as Tomas said, I'm product marketing manager here in Safetica, and today I will focus more on Safetica Next, our next gen SaaS DLP. I hope that most of you already know Safetica One, our on-prem flagship DLP solution. But today I would like to focus more on the SaaS version of SaaS product that we released and announced last year and continue develop. And I will also try to introduce you to the positioning and to have the overview how it stands next to the Safetica One. So I will start with a brief introduction to Safetica, to our joint business growth and overview, to those of you who doesn't know us that well yet. That will be really brief introduction. Then I will follow with the market opportunity, what we see where the market is going. And then I will follow with the problem that in fact powers the market or drives market opportunities. And in fact, these problems serves as opening arguments that the resellers can have with a conversation with their prospects. And the problems also, of course, create the need, the custom pain points that I will follow with that. And then I will introduce you to the solution itself, to its key features and benefits, in fact, the selling points. And then I will talk a little about the positioning of Safetica next to Safetica One, and also to other DLPs on the market. Then I will follow with targeting, subscription options, and a brief info about web trial that is available to anyone on safetica.com. So you probably know that Safetica is a Czech company that was founded more than 10 years ago. We are focusing mainly on data loss prevention solution, and last year with the repositioning, we moved towards also the insider threat protection to not keep an eye only on the data-centric approach, but also extend it to a human-centric approach for the insiders themselves. And we serve the organizations of, or trying to serve the organizations of all shapes and sizes. And this is also something that was already recognized by many analyst groups, the well-known that you can see. And you probably know that we are part of the ESET Technology Alliance since 2016. Um, so just very briefly, what is our vision, the purpose of Safetica in the long term? So we are trying to achieve the state where the data protection would be as excellent as possible, as easy as possible. Therefore, we envision the world in which all companies, no matter if they are large or if they are small, can focus on their business, because this is the most important thing, without need to worry about their data being lost or leaked. To proof of how we are doing is the evaluation of or evaluation by our customers. I would say that based on the recognition and feedback from our customer, Safetica was ranked first in ease of implementation and ease of integration, and overall as a leader in software reviews DLP data quadrant last year, and this year also was a champion of the data loss prevention marketscape. So that was the Safetica business. So what about our joint cooperation and job business? So our joint business grew from 3 million euros in end user prices in 2019 to for about 5.3 million euros in end user prices last year. And this year we are targeting even higher, 8.5 million euros. And I will, in the following slides, I will let you and I will explain you where we see the big opportunity. From the region perspective, almost 1/3 of the revenue comes from Middle East and North Africa. Then almost 1/4 of the revenue comes from our joint revenue. I mean, with that we do with ESET from Central and Eastern Europe. Then we have almost 20% from Latin America, and 15% from Great Western Europe, and for now only 5% from North America and 6% from APEC. So as you can see, there is definitely an opportunity to grow the size of the size of the slices and to grow the business in the other regions, especially in the Western countries. So what is our joint business opportunity, and why do we see the potential of reaching 10.5 million euros this year? So I guess that you are perfectly aware of the obvious trends, like that for most companies, data and people are the main business drivers. But when you are digitizing your business, when you are adopting cloud services, when you are selling your goods and services online, because this is something that is a must today, you need to have the online presence. And when you are adopting the remote work or hybrid work models, because this is something that also became the new normal, it's under these conditions, it's pretty hard to protect your data as a customer, obviously. And at the same time, it's difficult because these trends attracts many threat actors attacking companies with ransomware, with malware, with phishing attacks, with advanced persistent threats. And this is something where ESET, steps in with its protection against the external threats. But on the other hand, there are negligent employees, malicious insiders, there are compliance incidents happening that altogether can lead to data leakage and quite big losses. So here is where Safetica steps in with its protection against internal or insider threats. And together, I would say we provide pretty nice combo for the data protection overall. By the way, Forrester just this week released a new research, new report that says that most of the security decision makers are most concerned about the external threats, but breaches are much more evenly spread in frequency among all the not just external attacks, but also lost and stolen assets, in the leaked or lost the data, internal incidents, or third-party providers. So this is the reason why I see that there is a nice combination of our solutions and then the big opportunity on the market. With this pretty nice joint data protection package, we are selling to market that is, at least according to most of the analysts, growing and will grow in double digits in the following years. And as you saw on previous slides, Safetica, together with ESET, but also itself grows organically even faster. And we expect, I would say, the further acceleration thanks to our expansion to SaaS business model with Safetica Next. So I would say there is a huge opportunity for us to grow together in upcoming years. To underline the tempo of growth, here is a sneak peek at the global DLP market growth that accelerates and should reach 3.5 billion US dollars by 2025. So what drives this growth together with the mentioned trends, and what are the sales opening arguments that the resellers can use in their conversation with prospects? According to recent studies, almost a half of the employees take the work-related data with them when leaving their job, especially on the US market, where now we are coming to the era of great resignation, where, if I remember correct, almost 26% of employees are quitting their jobs, and more than half of the employees are considering the change. This is quite a big threat of the employees leaking the data or taking the data with them outside the company to the new employer. Another data says that 40% of employees send an email to the wrong person, usually by mistake. By the way, the similar research says that people tend to send an email to the wrong person, let's say the unauthorized emails, 38 times more often than the IT leaders estimate. And another states, and then another statistics from Ponemon says that more than half of the incident are caused by the negligent employees, that they just don't take care or pay attention when doing their jobs. So what are the consequences? What is the damage of such a behavior? In most of the cases, the data leak is caused by negligent employee, as I said, or negligent contractor. In that case, the cost per single incident is almost $500,000 US dollars, let's say 480,000 K. There are, let's say, 25%, one quarter of incidents that are caused by malicious insiders, by employees that intentionally want to harm or harm the employer or earn the money by leaking the data. And these incidents occur with much less in much less cases, but the costs are even higher, as you can see. They can reach almost 800,000 US dollars, and during the time, the cost per incident grows quite a lot. Also due to trends that I mentioned, like the digitization, more and more data are digital, more and more systems are in use, more and more applications are in use, even with the shadow IT in the companies. So this is something even clear, I would say. What is good to mention, these are literally the cost per single incident. If you look at the cost in a whole year, per whole year, they can reach almost or over, if I remember correct, or over 10 million US dollars. Why does it cost so much? It's pretty easy to explain. According to another statistics, 9 of the 10 companies cannot detect such incidents. They are not able to do that, or is pretty hard for them. And when they detect such a data breach, it usually takes months to discover. And when they discover it, it takes another 2 to 3 months in average to contain or to investigate the insider threat incident. So what's even worse, it just happens every day. You know, by mistake or by intention, the employees might send sensitive data outside of the company and causing loss of know-how, loss of compliance violation, sorry, not loss, but compliance violations. And then the customer is facing regulatory fines or legal fines. They face loss of competitive advantage, reputational damage, and in the end, the customer churn. And this altogether can create these pretty huge costs that are caused by the data breach or data leakage. This creates the specific needs of the customer side. I would say they're pain points that we are addressing. IT managers or security managers obviously need to prevent such a dangerous file sharing, file uploads, or file copyings. They need to be able to audit the security incidents to have proofs for later incidents investigation, and they need to be aware of any policy or compliance violations, because this is something that can help them prevent possible penalties. But it's how to achieve that when, as a customer, you are lacking hardware infrastructure to deploy such a DLP solution, or if you are lacking knowledge or skills or even resources, you don't have the big budget planned for the implementation. And this is where Safetica steps in with our Safetica Next, our next gen SaaS DLP. To simply put it, what we offer, Safetica Next keeps customer sensitive data out of the wrong hands by detecting security risks and by preventing incidents literally from day one. It's a cloud native solution. It's still endpoint DLP. It doesn't cover all those scenarios that can come to your mind. It's focused on just on the core scenarios that we consider as the most important. It's focused on the maximum simplicity and automation to make it as easy to use and as easy to implement as possible. And all this is built based on our best practices that we've collected during those more than 10 years building our on-prem DLP Safetica One that you probably know quite well already. So what Safetica Next does, it basically searches for regulated data like personal, financial, or health, and it also searches for business sensitive or business critical or confidential information like contracts, plans, blueprints, or even source codes in case of software companies. And when it finds that, it also is capable of protecting them from leakage, easy as that. And it does that through the most important channels, I would say. So the IT managers, but also the C-level executives get the necessary visibility across all the key or the most important channels, including email, file shares, cloud storages or cloud apps, and removable storages. So what are the key benefits or key selling points? I see there the three most important pillars. And the first start with the very short time to value and high flexibility of Safetica Next. What we mean by that, Safetica Next can be literally deployed in 5 to 10 minutes. Then it takes several hours or maybe even days to install endpoint clients and set it up, but it's super fast to implement. With high flexibility, we offer pay-as-you-go service usage, so the customer can decide if they want to pay based on monthly or annual billings. So that's literally pay-as-you-go SaaS model, as you probably know from other SaaS applications. I mentioned our focus on ease of use. This is really important. The ease of use is, in our case, backed by built-in or pre-configured templates, already mentioned automation, but also by automatic detection of the risks We are detecting the risk level of the users, risk level of all the events, and we are also automatically defining the digital workspace that could be considered as a safe. And all of this together saves time for administrations and frees up their hands. So this is together the efficiency part, the efficiency pillar, I would say. Then we follow with the security. I mentioned that the Safety Connect is risk-driven. What we mean by that, it really provides the holistic risk evaluation of the every data incident or event and of every user. This risk evaluation is powered by data or data analytics, and we are at the same time trying to cover the full perimeter, the most important things. I mentioned the channels that we are protecting. I haven't mentioned that we are multi-platform. We cover Windows and Mac OS, and we are at the same time as we are endpoint DLP, we are also capable of protecting even temporarily offline devices. So those devices or computers that are not connected to the internet. So that's the second pillar, the security, that's very important for Safetica Next. And then we go for the third, and that's the architecture. We support and are ready for users working from home or remotely. For example, we have smart scanning feature that is dynamically recognizing the work hours, because as you know, when you are working from home, your working hours are not 9 to 5 as usual. So this is one of the features that covers that. But what is more important in general, Safety Connect is built on mature and MSP ready architecture, as it is cloud native solution or cloud native service. So it's multi-tenant, therefore MSP ready, and it was built with security first approach in our mind. By the way, it's not just the backend architecture, but also on the level of the endpoints or the endpoint clients. This is something, or there we take all the practice and things that we learned with Safetica One. The endpoint client has very low impact on the performance, let's say under 3% from our experience. So these are the key, or I would say strategic three pillars: efficiency, security, and architecture, and the key selling points for Safetica Next. And I also promised you to talk a little about the positioning. So now, as you know, in Safetica product portfolio, we have two product lines: Safetica Next, the next gen SaaS DLP that covers the key core scenarios with a maximum focus on simplicity and automation. And then we have the long time on-prem enterprise grade DLP solution that covers literally the full range of data security scenarios, from the data protection through workspace audit and control, and with the optional UEBA module also supporting the business productivity. Let me talk a little about not just the positioning, but also a little about the targeting. So Safetica Next is targeted mostly to SMBs with the sweet spot from 100 up to 500 users. Of course, it's you can offer it to even smaller customers and even bigger customers, but this is the sweet spot that we are focusing also with from the perspective of the product development and with all the support and initiatives that we do. The very from as a customer, or the most relevant customer profile, I would say, is the one or the companies that has very limited or even no in-house hardware infrastructure. For example, that could be companies that are completely running in cloud with a SaaS approach, or that could be companies that have just a few servers and doesn't have any space, or implementing another solution would require buying new servers and storages, and that they don't have money for that. These are usually also the companies with a very limited IT capacities or skills. And these could be the companies that I already mentioned that prefer the SaaS approach and pay-as-you-go business model. On the other hand, we have the Safetica One, the enterprise DLP and insider threat protection that targets the higher segment of these from the SME to small and mid-sized enterprises. From these 200 up to 4,000 users. That's again the sweet spot. But let me emphasize that we are successfully running even in environments with over 8,000 users. So we are capable of covering even higher or bigger environments and enterprises. Those are usually the companies that prefer the software running in-house on their own infrastructure on-prem. They have usually their own IT or security team that has the capacity available, so they can spend much more time with configuration, with their own fine-tuning of the settings, and so on and so forth. And these are as well the companies that usually require the third-party integrations with a full security stack with the CMs, with network security tools, with data analytics like Tableau or Power BI. And at the same time, these are usually the environments that have the multi-domain, or these are the companies with multi-domain environments. So this is something that we are covering with Safetica One. But I would also like to talk a little and position Safetica next against the legacy, like with the really traditional DLPs, to rest what is available on the market. So I mentioned that Safetica Next, as it is cloud native SaaS, it doesn't require any hardware infrastructure. It's super fast to implement. Literally, you can do it in minutes or hours, and then of course you need to spend a couple of days with the settings and fine tuning, but it's nothing in comparison to the legacy DLPs, and we'll get to it later. It's super easy to use because it's risk driven. It takes the information about the risk that helps to notify and inform the admin what needs, what they should pay attention at, and what needs direction, and it's maximum simplified and automatized, so we are saving the admin's time. On the other hand, the legacy DLP is obviously required to have the hardware infrastructure because they are usually on-prem solutions. Their implementations are, the implementation projects usually tend to take from quarters to even over a year. So it become pretty lengthy and costly projects, I would say. And as most of these legacy DLPs are rules driven, so you need to set up every DLP rule for what is allowed and what is forbidden. It requires pretty deep expertise and as well dedicated specialist that goes through the logs, goes through the settings, and continually adjust them based on how the environment changes in the company. So these are the biggest differences between the Safetica Nexus and Next-Gen SaaS and the legacy DLPs. But I would also like to talk a little about our differences to the other cloud and SaaS DLPs, because vendors, they use different wordings that and in the end could lead to quite a confusion on the market regarding what cloud or SaaS DLP is or is not. So what next-gen SaaS DLP from the Safetica perspective? It is still the endpoint DLP, so it means that it still works offline if the computer is not connected to the internet. It's cloud native. It's literally developed as a cloud native service. Therefore, it's multi-tenant. Safetica takes care of everything. The only thing that the admin or manager needs to do is to have the browser internet connection, sign into the console, and they need just to set up the things that they want to. But the Safetica takes care of all the backend running in the cloud. And it protects all the data that are stored on the endpoints, that flow or are moved through the endpoint. So these also cover the data that are uploaded or downloaded to SaaS applications, to web applications, or to cloud storages. And it's obviously provided as a service, something that I mentioned. And this is, I think, something that I would say that that applies also to the other cloud or SaaS DLPs. But the biggest difference is that sometimes vendors talk about cloud DLPs, but in the end, it means that they are just a CASB. I wouldn't say just, but they are CASB, something or the solution that sits between the company's network and the cloud, and controls the traffic that goes online. So it works only online by design. Or they could consider Cloud DLP as something that is in fact cloud-based, and that means that this is just a virtual machine, virtual server deployed to the cloud environment. That means that it's single tenant, and that means that the customer needs to take care of the server and database that is up and running in the cloud. This is something that, in case of cloud-native multi-tenant solution, is covered by Safetica. Or some vendors talk about cloud or SaaS DLPs in cases when they are protecting, I would say, just cloud data, meaning only data that are in the cloud storages or only data in SaaS, software as a service applications. So these are the biggest differences. Hopefully, I made it understandable. So regarding the targeting, I already mentioned it, but let's go a little bit deeper and remind you that Safetica Next is targeted to SMBs, customers from 100 up to roughly 500 users. And those are usually companies that need to cover the core data protection scenarios, meaning, let's say, sensitive data discovery and classification, the DLP itself, and also usually need to comply with some basic regulations like GDPR for personal data or HIPAA in healthcare services companies. And it's also very relevant for companies that are cloud only, that or have little or almost no on-prem infrastructure and would like to have it consumed as a service, and I like to have it deployed as soon as possible. From the decision makers perspective, from the business, the resellers can target CEOs that takes the responsibility for the companies, depending on the size and on the vertical. If there is CIO or CISO or DPO, these are also relevant business decision makers. Obviously, in such size of companies, there is usually 1, 2, or maybe 3 guys responsible for the whole IT. So it's usually IT manager or IT admin, and those are the right persons to reach with Safetica Next. From the targeted verticals, these are, let's say, 3 relevant areas that I would like to underline or emphasize. So we recommend to target manufacturing companies, or in fact, all the companies with investment heavy research and development, those companies that are vitally dependent on their know-how. So it can be heavy industry, but all the manufacturing, even the software developers or the tech startups, those companies that could fear of losing their know-how, their blueprint designs, because in that case they would lose their competitive advantage and in the end lose their business. Then there is another, let's say, group of companies or verticals or companies that are providing consultancy services. So those are companies that working with confidential materials of their clients, companies like legal agencies, accounting agencies, companies that provide a strategy consulting or communication services, or strategy communication services, or even healthcare consulting and healthcare services. I don't mean like the big hospitals, but any smaller ambulances or companies providing any healthcare consulting. These are those that in case they lose the confidential client's data, that would mean that they would lose the client and even could face the legal penalties. And then there is the third group, the service providers that are reliant on the long-term subscription. So that could be smaller telco providers, ISPs, cable TV providers, utilities like electricity, gas, water, obviously, securities or companies providing mortgages, loans, leasing, even small credit unions or small insurance companies, those that could fear of their competitors stealing their customers, because that would mean losing their long-term contracts and in the end, a decline in the revenue streams. Okay. So what about the targeted channel? So these are like we are targeting 2 basic partner or channel groups. The first are the traditional resellers. but especially like the value-added resellers, and the other are MSPs. The value-added resellers are much more relevant for us because we, with Safetica Next this year, we also introduced self-managed mode. That means that the reseller basically just resells the subscription, and the customer takes care of everything after the trial, after the first implementation and setup. The customer takes over the management or administration of the Safetica Next and covers everything on their own. So basically, I would say that most of the ESET partners that are actively, and I would emphasize actively selling to SMBs, that they are having their technical staff that understand SaaS and that have customer base that fits the mentioned qualification criteria, like from 100 to 500 employees and the mentioned verticals. Those are relevant to Safetica Next as well. What else to mention here? Well, Safetica Next for value-added resellers, I think this is something that you are perfectly aware of. Those that are capable of providing services, those that have some technical stuff that can guide the customer through the initial trial and help the customer to set up the environment. But still, with Safetica Next, we have the in-product wizard or in-product guide that help partner, but also the customer, if it's necessary, to set up everything from the very beginning. And then the other group are the MSPs, like the traditional managed service providers, not I wouldn't say not the huge ones, but those that are, let's say, smaller companies serving tens or maybe smaller hundreds of customers, that they are usually having end-to-end responsibility for both hardware, software, network, even, for example, print, but also MSPs that have some knowledge in the area of security. We don't require from resellers that they have some big skills or deep skills in data protection or data leak prevention systems. This is something that we can learn them and onboard them pretty easily and quickly. So this is basically just a quick intro to the two basic groups and then channel or reseller profiles, partner profiles that we are looking for. I also promised you to talk a little about the subscription. So you've heard that Safetica Next is available in monthly based or monthly paid or as an annual subscription. It's pretty similar. Very briefly, monthly subscription can be increased anytime, literally anytime, but decreased or canceled only at the end of the month. And it's billed pro rata and paid for the previous month always. The annual access subscription, on the other hand, can be again increased anytime, but decreased and closed only on its anniversary date. It's invoiced and paid before the start of the next billing period, means the next 12 months. And from the price point perspective, in fact, if I remember it correct, the annual subscription cost, in fact, or the price of the annual subscription is in the height of 10 months of monthly subscription. So in case the customer subscribes to annual subscription, they pay for 10 monthly subscriptions in the end. And then now we are going and getting to the free web trial, something that Safetica introduced recently in the last month. So basically what drove us there, because there is not yet a high number of fully trained Safetica Next partners that could successfully run their own trial, we decided to open this experience with Safetica Next to any potential customer that visits our website. And at the same time, we provide them with the full vendor support. So any visitor of safetica.com, they can click on call to action button, start free trial or try now. And with the full support of Safetica expert team, they will be able to touch and feel, to get the experience how the Safetica Next works. this will after receiving the email invitation and in a couple of clicks creating an Azure Active Directory account, they can enjoy the 10 days trial where they have the dummy data, so they go through the reports. There is also the in product guide that helps them to understand where they can find the most important thing in the console. And when the prospect requests the pricing or requests the guided trial, we connect them with a partner based on the region. If there is no trained partner in the region yet, we with your help we onboard the selected partner. We are running the trial with the customer, let's say with the support of our pre-sales or technical team, and onboarding the customer and training the customer at the same time, so they are able to take over the customer with the subscription. So we are getting to the end. What are the key takeaways? Basically, I would just remind you that Safetica Next is cloud native DLP. It's super fast to deploy in matter of hours and implementation in days. It's provided as a service with pay-as-you subscription with monthly or annual billings. It's super easy to use because it's using many automation and pre-configured templates based on our best practices that we've collected with Safetica One during the many years. It's risk-driven, so it provides many information about risk, about insider risk, in fact, and it's also built for hybrid digital workspace and for companies with remote workers. Last but not least, to tell you and to let you know what marketing and sales enablement materials and support you have from Safetica. So any partner can sign up to safetica.brandcloud.pro, to Safetica brand portal, where we store most of the materials like data sheets, solution briefs, sales decks, cheat sheets for sales, basic targeting. We also provide you with the knowledge base at support.safetica.com, where you can find all the newest release news, basic manuals about getting started with Safetica Next, manuals for troubleshooting, and we also provide you with e-learning at e-learning.safetica.com with online courses about the product and tech. The training for Safetica Next is being enhanced continually because the product is continually developed and enhanced. And just for information, we are also working on the sales trainings, not just the product/technical trainings. So they are on the way, and you can expect them hopefully soon. So very last but not least, the only thing that we or I would like to ask you, if you try to think and pick the most relevant partners that fits and suits the profile that I mentioned, just let us know on the selected contact or on the edit contact, and we will cover the rest. We will guide the reseller through the training, through the onboarding, so they are ready to sell Safetica Next. And at the same time, thanks to our free web trial and thanks to our marketing campaigns driving traffic towards these free web trial, we will provide them and you with the leads and potential customers. So now there's the time for your questions. I will try to go through the chat and together with my colleagues answer your questions.
Honza, maybe I try to answer most of them, but there is one specific to the feature set of Next with the advanced features. So if you can cover this one.
Okay, so that's pretty nice question. I would like to know what you mean by the advanced features as Safetica ones. I think what is the most important thing that I already mentioned is that there is different positioning. So with Safetica One, we are targeting literally the enterprise customers that have different needs than the SMBs, and it has really broad portfolio. So with Safetica Next, we are not trying to cover and provide customers with everything. We think that the SME customers, they don't have the skills, they don't have the people to to literally go to very granular settings and configurations. Therefore, they need to cover the core scenarios that I mentioned. They need to cover the most important channels, and they need to have everything automized and simplified as much as possible. So that's the completely different approach to Safetica Next in comparison to Safetica One. If you have any specific features on your mind, please drop it to the chat. I will try to answer that.
Thank you for your questions. If there are any you would like to ask us here directly, please raise your hands. We have a time here to answer also the live questions. Otherwise, all questions, slides, and the recording of this session will be provided to you after we will finish. So please feel free if you have another questions. We are ready to answer. I have seen here the interest about what's the Safetica Next, what's the Safetica One. There is a possibility, and I would like to invite you, if you would be interested, to have a separate session on going more deeply into what's Safetica One and what's the Safetica Next, and to explain details on the separate session. So there will be the possibility to do the next session as well.
Yeah, well, that's all, definitely possible. No problem with that. One thing that I'm also thinking about, what Safetica One regarding the broader feature set. One of the things that makes it quite different to Safetica Next. Safetica One has this workspace, audit workspace control. So you are able to, currently, you are able to do the, let's say, whitelist or blacklist of applications or websites that the employees can access. That's something that is not available for Safetica Next for now. And also for Safetica One, we offer the optional UEBA module that provides you with pretty detailed information about the behavior of the users, information like what kind of what they're doing in their working hours. For example, if they are something that could be relevant to the current situation, if they are spending their time playing games, or watching YouTube, or searching for new jobs. These pretty broad kind of information is provided by the optional module, UEBA module for Safetica One. But really, please, if you can, something that I would recommend you to keep in mind is like this really different positioning of the size. So different size of companies have different requirements and different needs. Safetica One is really more towards the enterprise, ready for the integrations with the other security tools and systems. These ready for multi-domain environments. So these are the key differences as well.
Maybe also in pricing, there is, as a Safetica Next is a pretty software as a service with a subscription, starting from the monthly subscription and also getting the advantage of 1 year subscription, while Safetica One is a typical license, 1, 2, or 3 years duration. So there's the difference in this way. As you mentioned, the pricing also, yes, there are price list for Safetica One and Safetica Next that will be provided to you if you didn't get any till this time, which you will see the whole range products as are priced. Okay, if there are not any other questions, of course, feel free to ask question anytime in the future, and you can send to me or make a call to me, anything concerning Safetica. I will get in touch with you.
Also, maybe one thing to mention, if for any reason you don't have the access to Safetica brand portal and would like to, just reach us and we can help you with that.
So thank you very much. I think this was a quite useful time for those, especially for those who are starting with Safetica Next. Thank you for providing this information. As I mentioned, recordings will be provided with the slides as well to all of you. So in the future, in any case of any questions, please feel free to write me to my email, and yes, I will find out if you are interested in more detailed comparison and session of differences between Safetica 1 and Next, and we will arrange for sure this for you in the future if interested. Thank you very much. Enjoy your weekend. If there are no questions, that's all from our side.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
See you and have a nice weekend.
Have a nice weekend.